All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here talking about the mischief of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and some real music and some music that is okay. And doing it in real time for a few real people out there just like you and just like me. So I'm going to talk about my channel a little bit toward the end, so I will spare you on that. But it's important stuff. Also, going to showcase this album again. Real rock and roll for real people. Blackberry Smoke, Be Right Here. I've got people that don't even like Southern rock buying this album. And most people, even if they don't like this style, they're coming back and saying, yeah, that's the way an album should be recorded. It's electric, it's acoustic, it's blues, it's rock, it's Southern rock, it's soul, it's a little bit of country in there as well. It's kind of like all of the above. So check out Blackberry Smoke. Be right here. I will put a link in the actual video so you can make that purchase if you decide you want to do that. Now, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's kind of embarrassing for them these days. They seem to want maybe to have it both ways, right? They want to still be this cutting edge institution that is redefining what it is to be rock and roll. Eric B. and Rakim, 100%, all the way. That's rock and roll. And now they're looking backward. And because they're looking backward, they're looking like, the emperor has no clothes. They're looking kind of embarrassed here, or embarrassing. Anyway, this, I think, is a good paragraph talking about Peter Frampton, who just got nominated. Yeah, Peter Frampton, the guy from the 70s. Anyway, despite a point in time where everybody in the suburbs was issued one of his albums with a sample of Tide, you get your laundry detergent, and look, here's Frampton Comes Alive with your box of Tide. Peter Frampton didn't receive his first nomination for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame until this year, alongside contemporaries including Ozzy Osbourne, Cher, Foreigner, and Kool and the Gang, all of whom I believe should be in the Hall of Fame. Frampton and his contemporaries here have been eligible for the institution since 1998. And he tells me that, yes, of course, he thought about the potential of his name being put in the hat, even if he's harbored certain criticisms of the Rock Hall over the years. But his chance at becoming a nominee accelerated a few months ago when he participated in Sheryl Crow's induction and went full guitar god on stage. Ooh. Peter Frampton, right? He's never gone guitar god on stage. Never, never. Peter Frampton is one of those rare performers who can take a song, an ordinary song, an average song, and turn it into something spectacular. That's why he should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Case in point, if you don't have Frampton Comes Alive, you really should get yourself a copy. It's been remastered like 11 times, and it's amazing. If you go back and listen to all those songs from the original studio albums that came out prior to Frampton Comes Alive, those songs are pretty good, but they are so much better when you hear them on Frampton Comes Alive. It's as if he just infused new life. And most of the people who went to go see Peter Frampton at that time were like, yeah, I don't really know too many of his songs. I might know one or two, because he didn't really have a lot of radio support prior to that. He was in this band you might remember called Humble Pie. But then, he goes out on his own, and it took him a while. And radio wasn't being all that receptive to him until Frampton Comes Alive. And then he became a superstar. Now, I think that's important because that's probably never happened before. All right. That is groundbreaking. Now, Bob Seger, he did a little bit like Frampton in the sense that his live album at the time, Live Bullet, again contained a lot of music that people hadn't heard before. But Bob had some chart activity prior to Live Bullet. I would put those albums side by side, throw in Waiting for Columbus by Little Feat, and you've got a trilogy of great, just classic rock and roll live albums. But again, I would put Frampton Comes Alive above those other two, just because of how great those songs came out. Just spectacular from start to finish, not boring. Even the slower tracks, even the tracks that are even lesser known songs on that Frampton Comes Alive, being at a classic rock station during the 1980s, I mean, you could basically play anything you wanted off of Frampton Comes Alive, unless you had time constraints and you couldn't play Do You Feel Like We Do, because you would get in trouble with the boss. But if it was, past 9 o'clock at night and you didn't have a commercial break coming up, yeah, we'll leave the top of the hour off with that. And nobody will leave their radio. Everybody will be listening for the 16 minutes or whatever. It's pretty long. And it's just an amazing song. And so, yeah, Peter Frampton, let's get back to, they're basically talking about Peter Frampton. Like, gee, I think we overlooked this guy. He's been eligible since 1998. Now, this list, again, you've got Ozzy and Cher and Foreigner and Kool and the Gang, right? All of whom should be in right now. They should have already been in. Frampton went full guitar god when he played with Sheryl Crow last year. And so now somebody, I mean, is this kind of like a parody thing, or is it like a just, what do you think of Peter Frampton? He's kind of good, right? But you just inducted Sheryl Crow, and you put Sheryl Crow into the Hall of Fame, which is questionable. But okay, say you put her in there and people think she should go in. You put her in before Peter Frampton goes in. So this is where it gets embarrassing for the Hall of Fame. Ozzy should have been in. Now, you've got Mick Jones, who now has Parkinson's, or at least is told the world. You've got Ozzy. I think he's got Parkinson's, right? Or Alzheimer's, or something within that type of illness. Peter Frampton has a degenerative bone disease. So you got, now, what is this? The Sympathy Hall of Fame? Like, okay, we feel sorry for these guys. Now we're going to put them in. Now, I get it. Jan Wenner flew the coop, but we still have Eric B. and Rakim, right? Tribe Called Quest. I mean, it just, and again, I sit here and I go, all right, if you want to change the name of your hallowed institution to the Music Hall of Fame, to the All of the Above Sound Hall of Fame, because some people would argue that maybe some of this isn't music in the traditional sense. I don't want to have that argument. I mean, you could just take it off the table and say, look, we're not about rock and roll anymore, or we're not just about rock and roll anymore. So Jan leaves, right? Because he says all of these nasty things. By the way, he says all the things that these people supposedly are the police about, right? They're going to police your language. Like if you said something in 1976, of course they're going to have that ready to go. When you do something against the narrative, they're going to go back to that time you said something inappropriate 50 years ago, or how many years ago. And so these people, you would think, right, that they would say, you know what, maybe we've taken this a little too far, and maybe we should put some people in there that don't necessarily fit with all of these, what is it, DEI requirements? Because that's what, I mean, you should call it DIE. It should be DIE, but it's DEI. So the Hall of Fame obviously has been doing this for a number of years. They're trying to put women into the Hall of Fame. Hence, Dolly Parton, right? Dolly Parton doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame Sheryl Crow, more so, but body of work, yes, no, compared to who? Anyway, I wonder how Randy Bachman feels right now. Burton Cummings. What's Burton Cummings doing right now? Is he sitting there just going, well, all these people deserve to go in, but I don't? What is John Kay from Steppenwolf? What is he thinking these days? He's got to be like 80 years old or something now. He's still alive, and yet he's not, even though he influenced everything. That band, heavy metal, hard rock, every band on the planet owes Steppenwolf. They talk about MC5. Thank goodness MC5 didn't get nominated. But you would think after, I think it was their last original guy, the guitar player just passed away, they would do it posthumously. But maybe they decided not to because they wanted him to get the award and so forth, to be able to get up there and talk about how he hates certain things. And these guys give these political speeches rather than just being grateful for being in the Hall of Fame. That's probably why they just passed up on it. I don't know. But the point is, there are a lot of people wandering around. The guys in Blue Oyster Cult, the guys in America. Well, I mean, America isn't in the Hall of Fame. The guys in Kansas, what are they thinking? You know, they're thinking, yeah, we don't deserve this. REO Speedwagon. No, I get it. Who is REO? What is REO Speedwagon now? It's Kevin Cronin's band. But those earlier versions of the band, I would say from the late 70s into the high infidelity period, absolutely should be in the, why not? We can talk about Styx. We can talk about, I was going to say Foreigner, but they finally did nominate Foreigner. So maybe some of this stuff is going to change. But my point is, it's embarrassing that it's taking this long. And it's still embarrassing that there are obvious choices that have just been ignored over the years. And I remember it was Ray Thomas, who was in the Moody Blues, who passed away just before the Moody Blues were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they had just waited too long. This amazing British Invasion, I don't know if you'd call them British Invasion band, but innovative. If you got sick of kind of the weird stuff in Pink Floyd, you could go over to the Moody Blues and feel like you had gotten a little more classy. You've gotten a little bit more erudite with your music tastes. And it took them forever to put them in. It was so bad. And they took forever to put in Deep Purple. And it took them forever to put Yes in. There was so many bands where they just finally said, yeah, I guess so. We don't have anyone left from the DEI board here. So we're going to go over to Captain Obvious Choices. And so Peter Frampton represents the Captain Obvious choice. And the fact that a light bulb went off when someone heard him on stage with Sheryl Crow, who should never have gotten in before Peter Frampton, and said, oh, maybe Peter Frampton should go in. I heard that he's, a good player, and now I've seen it. It's like, did you forget about Frampton Comes Alive? Did you not know that Peter Frampton has a pretty impressive body of work over the years and has continued to perform? He's recorded so much great music, and then he did that little stint with Humble Pie. No big deal. What's Humble Pie, Dave? It's another band that influenced Aerosmith and the Black Crowes and the Rolling Stones. I mean, they kind of influenced back and forth, but and probably a bunch of other bands. Even this band here that I showcased, right? I mean, you can't have Blackberry Smoke without some Humble Pie maybe thrown in there. Who cares, right? They're too old. Everybody forgot about them. They're not getting played on the radio. So I'm not arguing that Humble Pie should be in the Hall of Fame. By the way, I'm just saying I would be more comfortable with Humble Pie than Eric B. and Rakim. Okay, I'd be more comfortable with that. And there are a number of other great bands that you probably like. Jim Croce, right? But What about his body of work? He died before he could really, have an impressive catalog. I don't think that's true. I think he died in the midst of making a great catalog. By the way, if you're going to measure things that way, Kurt Cobain died in the midst of an impressive catalog, and he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because he fits a certain political agenda. Rock and roll is supposed to be this way. It's not supposed to appeal to this group of people over here. The working class person who plays by the rules, works hard, lives hard, but, is trying to do their best. I don't think they really care about that stuff. They really just care about how they influence youth culture, whatever that means, and their impact in general on, the industry. Can we write about this? Can we talk about this? Does this align with our political views? And so without Jan Wenner, I think it's better. But all that to just say, it's a little late for Peter Frampton. And because it's a little late for Peter, it's just embarrassing for the Hall of Fame. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. It's not a super slow news day. I'll have more content coming up. Blackberry Smoke, please check this out. Also, folks, all right, the last week or so, and again, I'm talking a little bit about the channel here, just things have started to tank again after kind of going up for a while. Now they're going down. I had that David Lee Roth video. It did really well. And that pulled me out of the doldrums to some degree, but I'm back to where I was before that. And some of my political views lately have ruffled some feathers. And all I can tell you, folks, is politically, I'm a work in progress. I truly want what's best for humanity, what's best for this country, and what's best for the world. And I don't think chaos is good for this country. I don't think drama is good. Now, you can argue that drama is the only way to go. And I don't want drama in my own house. I don't want turmoil. I don't want chaos. I can live with something I don't agree with 100% of the time if I can still make a way for myself and I can help people around me understand that. You know what I mean? But once we get to the point where people aren't having conversations with each other and they're not being honest, and they buy into every online conspiracy. And again, I have one that I hold on to, and it's not a conspiracy because there's data, right? There's data. It's scientific. So this isn't like some anonymous group that says, I don't know, that a certain person will be in power again and the military will take over the government and yada, 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 and all this stuff. So again, you can go down that if this is your recreation, if this is what you like to do in your spare time, more power to you, I guess. But as far as my political beliefs on this channel, they're evolving, and I will make a point of calling out people on either side of the political spectrum, because I think there's damage in the extreme ends of that spectrum. There's damage that's occurring to our discourse. Like, we're not able to talk to each other the way we should. And so I think that might be affecting this channel, because when I checked the number of subscribers I was getting, all of a sudden it just dropped. Like, a whole bunch of people unsubscribed. And I don't know what to say. Look, I wouldn't subscribe to something that I didn't agree with either, probably. Unless I wanted to just see what the other side was talking about, I could just watch. I wouldn't have to subscribe. But for you patrons out there who support the channel, thank you for sticking with me. If you'd like to become a patron and help this channel, I do provide something a little bit different each day. And I try to do this at least once or twice a day. And yes, I have another channel. Maybe I shouldn't mention that I have another channel that's just going to be a separate thing. Some people know where to find it, others do not, but it's more political. And I do inject some politics and culture over here as well, because I have 76,000 subscribers. And I try to use this as a platform also to talk about God and Jesus Christ and what's truly important at the end of all of this. And so anyway, very long-winded video here, but I wanted to make that point about politics. I don't agree with probably 80% of the politics of the music world, yet I still like a lot of the music, even if I listen to, say, Richard Marx start talking, and I'm just like, dude, this is rough. This is just rough. Man, those early albums, me growing up through the 80s into the early 90s, I mean, that stuff was like the soundtrack. And I didn't like all of it, but I really thought some of it was brilliant. And even today, I think it's great. But, you know, yeah, it's tough to like somebody if you disagree with them, but it is possible. It is possible. So I'm learning, and I would ask a few people out there to maybe cut me some slack, because again, my motive isn't to tear one individual down. My goal is to tell the truth. And if the truth hurts, then I'm sorry. And of course, everybody has their version of the truth, and they just tell me I don't know what I'm talking about and so forth. And that's how we talk to each other now. We just yell at each other and insult and just throw F-bombs at each other. And I'm kind of getting over it a little bit. I do get mad where I either want to just crawl into the fetal position or just not want to do this. I don't want to do it. I do other things. I have a family. I have a dog. I have hobbies and interests. And yeah, I like music, but I do other things as well. So anyway, folks, that's it. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with this. If you stayed to the end, what can I tell you here at the end to make it like super bonus coverage? I'll have more content coming eventually. All right. So if you didn't stick to the end, you found out, you heard it here first. More content, more lamenting, more grievance, more chaos. No, we need actually less of that stuff and just more of the sunshine. We need some sunshine and fresh air. And that's where I think I probably need to go right now. Sunshine and fresh air. God bless you all. Please pray for peace in the Middle East, and pray that I can speak the English language too.